Right then guys, we're back with a follow-up video to my last one with the settings for Automobilista 2. An hour after I did that video, version 1.6 dropped and a lot of things have changed. So I'm going to try and run you through with some explanations and hopefully get you the same feelings that I'm getting, which I'm absolutely in love with. I think it's perfect, it's great. So if you're super new, this is the first time, or you're trying to set it up yourself, I'll walk you through step by step what you need to do. So this is where you land. We go up to options. Might as well start off with getting your wheel and everything connected. This is my settings. I'll leave it there so you guys can see it. I'm on a CSLDD with load cell pedals connected. But when you come into this the first time, you need to choose your make and then your model. Mine's combined, but if you have separate pedals, you just put it to separate, and then you do your calibrate wheel and calibrate pedals. For anybody whose wheel is not in here, if it's not being detected, custom is the way you need to do it, okay? But I'm there. So CSLDD, combined, and then calibrate wheel. I've done this, we've had many discussions about it, and this is where I've landed. If you're coming from other games, mainly like ACC, you set your wheelbase to 900 on ACC, and then you go into the game, you put the game sensitivity to 900, and the wheel and the game talk to each other, and they automatically can change the steer ratios for each car. You get that. This game, I think, I found, is exactly the same. So whatever you set on your wheel, you go in here and do what I'm about to do, and then the cars will change. You turn your wheel, and the wheel inside the car on the game will match. Your steer ratio will be spot on. Now there are problems with different cars where this causes issues because of the sensitivity with the steering in those cars, and like on ACC, you can go in, and I'll show you in a minute, where you can adjust sensitivity per car to eliminate that problem. But let's just do this. So it's the first time you've done it, you found your wheel, you've put it in, calibrate. So this now, you just turn the wheel all the way until you get to the soft locks, so that the game can detect how far your soft locks are, where the full range of motion on your wheel is. So you just keep going, keep going, keep going. There it is. It's a full turn and a quarter for me. So that's 100%. Right. This seems to be confusing a few people. So now you need to tell the game where 90 degrees is, so it can work out the ratio for your steering lock. So you just get your wheel, turn it to 90 degrees. Mine's set at 900. You don't have to get it bang on, but I'm that type that needs it bang on. So there, it's done. Click save. Now the game knows your sensitivity of your steering wheel and can adjust per car so that you get the same, so that you know you're not that far on your wheel and the wheel in the car is over there or down here. You can do different things depending on the size of your wheel and how you personally prefer it. Like I've heard a couple of boys have got there at 480 for a 4mm wheel. You could have it at 1080. The more movement you have in the wheel, the more increments of adjustment you'll have in the steering. I prefer it being larger than maybe some others have, because throttle oversteer coming out of corners, you've got that bit more to play. Yeah, I've got to do more work with the wheel, but I'd prefer that. Anyway, that's up to you. So then, automatic clutch. There's a clutch. I've got paddles, but there's one in the game, and this is just for changing gear, not for taking off, not for starting. You still can use the clutch for that. Gearing manual, inverted gearing, no. Inverted access, no. Right, there you go. Configuration. Right, now, this is an important one, because when I turned this on for the first time after the update, my brake sensitivity was on 40. Now, if you read the side, it says for the game's brake inputs to match your pedal, so whatever sensitivity you've adjusted and that you like in your pedal, for the game just to go with that, you have to have it on 50%. when I started the game up after the update, it was on 40. So it was a decreased sensitivity, which becomes a non-linear curve. So the first dab of the brake pedal, you need more pressure to get that refined small amount, and then it would ramp up for full 100% brake. I didn't like that. So I've already adjusted my pedals to how I like. You do that in whatever software you have, Fanatec. I'll show you mine. No, I won't. I'll do that after. But yeah. So for the game to follow what your physical pedals are doing, you have to have it on 50. Then if you want to adjust it from there, you carry on. You can make it less sensitive, more sensitive, up to you. But to remember, to follow your pedal the way it is, you have to have that setting on there. I've set a brake dead zone of 1. You can do that in your wheelbase pedal software yourself. It's up to you. I've got one on there and on here because I got big, massive size 13s, and if I rest my foot on a pedal, I don't want it activating. You can also do steering dead zones. I've heard a couple of people saying they don't like the feeling at the center when you're in a straight line. Hopefully what I'm about to do will eliminate that and you don't need it, but you can change that there. Basically, for the game to not be having any effect on what you've set up on your base, you need all these on 50. You put them on 50%, and then it's allowing the wheelbase to determine all of those sensitivities instead of the game doing it. There you go. I'll scroll it down so you can see all of my settings. There you go. Right, edit assignments. This is where you go in and tell the game, for all the functions that the game has, you tell them what your inputs want to be. So if your wheelbase is detected in the game and you've selected it, these should all be automatically on there. But if they're not, like if you're doing the custom, just click and set it up. Oh, new configuration. Right, alright, it doesn't want to pick that up. Well, that's not gone well, is it? I don't want it on joy button. Let's just cancel that, is it? If I don't save, I don't have to do it. Anyway, you get the point. In the vehicle, ignition, joy button. This is where you start everything off. So you need certain, there's loads on you, but there's certain ones you need, certain ones you don't. If you haven't got all the buttons, if you've got a button box, you can go for it. You can put stuff on the keyboard, which I've done, but for me at the moment, these are the ones I need. So ignition, start engine, headlights is on the keyboard, high beam headlights, flasher, I got that on the joystick. Windscreen wipers, you can set that to automatic. Request a pit stop. Joystick 21, pit speed limiter, launch control, DRS, for the Formula cars, boost. And then when you get into it, the amount of things you can adjust from the steering wheel is amazing. But we're not going to get into all that. Assists are the same, so traction control and ABS. If, like me, you've got the dials on the McLaren, you have to go into the wheelbase settings and set these encoders to automatic. I think I have to show you that, am I? If you want to use them, there it is there. Multi-position switches, put them to auto, and then the game will automatically, if you put them in constant, pulse, or encoder, and you want to use them to increase and decrease your TC, it will go per position instead of direction, if you get what I mean. So if I turn it up, it turns it up. If I turn it down, it turns it down. But then if you put it on pulse or constant, it'll just go TC1, TC5. You get what I mean. And for anybody else that's using, I'm on a Fanatec CSRDD, so I've got the 8 Newton meters. Here's my settings. I've kept the same wheelbase settings as I do for ACC, just to make it easier to switch between the two games. So there it is there. So I've got 900 sensitivity. Knock yourself out. Have a look. Break 470. And then, like I was on about with the pedals, I was having trouble yesterday because I kept spinning while braking. And then when I found the problem, my pedals hadn't been calibrated. I don't know what happened, but the update, and I was constantly 6-7% on my brake without any inputs. So just go in, do the calibration, got rid of it. Happy days. We're away. Let's get rid of that. Back to the game. That was my quick explanation for the TC and ABS. Here you go. That's what I've got for those. Camera view. So you can change your camera, look back, all that. It's all on there. And then gameplay, pause, reset the car's an important one. If you've ended out in the dirt, miles away from anywhere, just quick tap. I've got a space on the keyboard, resets you back on the track. Opponents' names. Not bothered about that. Oh, I could actually get rid of those. Put that in as Z. That'll just change whether you see their names or not. Cycle HUD display. Now this is an important one for what I'm about to show you in a minute. So you need to map a button for that so that you can cycle through the heads-up display because there's different types. There you go. I'll show you those. There's lots of things that we're just not going to touch on here. We're just trying to get you up and running with a tidy force feedback feeling and get you on the track. Right now, this is the main point of contention. Before the update, I was using a custom FFB file, which I think made it feel a lot better. Now the update's happened, it would seem that the developers have changed the in-game force feedback to be very similar, and I'm starting to touch on maybe better than the custom ones were. So if you've watched that previous video, throw that out. Do not do what that says. Just use the in-game default ones. You've got default plus and default, and then there's that custom one, but we're not bothered with that anymore. So I'm using default plus. So with this now, you do your gain. Let me explain this for people. You have your overall gain. So that's your strength of your force feedback, yeah? So slide up and down, that's self-explanatory. You then have low force boost. This is for 5 Newton meter wheels or less. So, you know, the Fanatec I've got without the boost kit or Logitech. What this does is your high force, you know, overall extreme forces are done by the gain. So that's the upper limits, but this is for the lower limits. So when your car's parked or if you're going fast down the straight and there's not much going on, if you feel that it's a bit too light, this is what this is intended for. So it's the low force boost. So this will not affect, you won't get clipping by increasing this. Basically 100% of this is an extra 25% on the lower 30% of your force feedback, if you get what I mean. It's a bit complicated, but basically, if you've got like a lighter weight wheel and putting this up to 100 and it still doesn't feel right at those times, you know, on the straights or parked up, you can adjust this and add a bit more weight. I was running it with 5 and 75 gain, but you can't just willy-nilly change these. I'm going to show you something in a minute that transformed how I set up the gain for the force feedback. Right, this one, FX, this is again for tyre feedback. So bumps, stones, curbs, things like that. Now, if you put this right up there, to me, it was shaking my rig that much. My phone was falling out the phone holder. So I've settled on 50 there. No, actually, this have changed. I'm going to put this down to 40. Because Yes, it's nice and I like feeling it, but I don't want it interfering too much with the feeling of the car, the suspension, the handling of the car. And that moves me on to this one, damping. I've read a couple of different things, but I finally went on the developer's webpage, and their explanation for damping is like, what do you think about it? It's like power steering for cars. So, and it works the opposite way around. So if you put this up, you're adding more power steering. So it's doing more for you, so you'll feel less of the car. Yeah? Which will bring back that floaty feeling that people complained about previous to version 1.6, which I can assure you, well, I think it's gone now. It's so much better. So putting this on a lower setting, 0, 10, whatever, you're getting more of what the car's doing, but then that might be too heavy, depending on what you've done here, because you need to find where you're clipping. Clipping is where the game is giving, because the game can give up to like 35 Newton meters. So unless you've got a wheel that can do that, mine's only 8. If I put the gain up to 100 and then put the damping down to 0, at those high peak force moments, like bumps and high downforce fast corners, you're going to get all the power, and then it's going to feel like it's gone light. That's clipping, because you've lost detail. Your wheel cannot put out what the game is trying to give you. So I had this on 20, I think. I'm still playing with this to get the precise feeling of how you want it. But that's the explanation you need to understand for these settings. So gain is your overall force feedback, peak. Low force is for parked up and high, when there's not much going on, there's not inputs, but you still want to feel something instead of it feeling light. And if you've got, smaller Newton meter wheels, it can add on top of this to give you a bit more force feedback. FX is for tire contact road feedback. So just think about it as road feedback, bumps, curbs, all that. And then damping is to get the strength, the feeling of the car, what the suspension's doing, rebounds and pitch and roll and all that. This is the one that gives you the connection to the car in the game. And the menu spring strength is how fast, like if you're driving a car and you, rage quit. I don't know who rage quits, like who does that? You press escape, you go back to the menus, and you suddenly lose all the force factor, especially if you was in a fast high-speed corner or whatever. You can punch yourself in the nuts, all sorts. So this is the menu spring strength. When you return to the menu, what kind of force you want to have going through the wheel when you cut off your force feedback. So I had it low, because I was like, no, I don't want my wheel kicking back when I'm going into the menus. And now I'm gone the other way. I've got it high. So I've been having it on 60. So my FFB peak is 75. This is going to 60. So when I do that menu change, there's still something there, and then you can bring it back yourself. Instead of it going and going, what's happened? All right? Hope that explains that. So that's where I'm at. I'm at 75, 5, 40, 20, 60. And don't worry about this. I'm going to show you in a minute. So, we'll stick with this force feedback to get to the point where you're getting the best feeling out of this, but you're not getting no clipping. So to find those values that I've landed on, this is what you need to change. Go into gameplay, display, and on HUD level, it's light. Most people will be on full at default, so that's giving you your rev counter, your speedo, all your track times and everything. You need to go to telemetry. Don't worry about the rest of this screen. I'll go through that in a second, but this is key. So we go to telemetry, save that. I'm going to do a race. I know you're like, oh, my graphics and audio and camera and all that. Sod all that. We've got to get this FFB dialed in before I go doing something else. So we go single race, pick your car, sessions, whatever. should insert some kind of joke, but I've just been dealing with the rugrat and my mind is melted. So you'll just have to put up with my ugly face, with my Movember tash. I know it's December the 1st now, so it needs to come off, but I got attached. I raised 40 quid for charity. Right, we're almost in. Here we go. Don't worry about all this. We'll come back to all this in a minute. Just get in your car and drive. You could do this without other people on track, whichever. Right, here we go. Can I pause? No, it's still going to show it all. I should have done it without cars. Let's go back. Let's get rid of everybody off the grid. Sorry, people. Because they're just going to come around and swat me if I'm sat here talking rubbish. Race settings. Opponents. Just get rid of them for now. I got rid of my one joke that I had. Sorry. I've used it all up. You're going to have to wait the same as me. Or I'll edit it out, whichever. Right, here we go. Jump on track. Oh look, here we go. Now we've got... This is the telemetry HUD. And if I... The button that I told you to map for cycle HUD, this is it, see? You have the different types. So I'll talk you through it. This one is for setting the car up. Obviously, it shows you all the tyres, suspension, everything. Like, if you want to set the car up, if you want to go super try-hard and start getting into all your setups, this is what you need to be doing. Any adjustments, you can go in and you can see how it affects the car. For the track, it's brilliant. Anyway, we'll get rid of that. All we're concerned about are the two at the bottom of the screen. Now, the bottom right is your pedal inputs, clutch, brake, and accelerator. Let's go. See the auto clutch then for pulling off? And I've got one on a paddle that I can do myself. But this is key to get your pedal traces, the CBA down on the bottom right, because, like I said, for some reason, the new update, my pedals needed recalibrating, and I was continually dragging the brake. It was there, like 5%. Until I found this telemetry, I didn't know about that, so I did all day yesterday racing with the guys, and the day before, and I was noticing, complaining. I didn't complain much, but I complained a bit about how I kept spinning on the brakes. And I was like, well, what's going on? I didn't understand. This is the problem. Didn't matter how much I was coming off my pedal. My brakes were staying active. So the back end just kept snapping out on me. So now I figured it out. So I would highly suggest, if you're new and you've just set it all up, you've done the previous steps, even if you've done it in your wheelbase, just go in here and make sure that you're not getting any ghost inputs from your pedals. Yeah? Right, the next one is, I can't use my pointer, I'm going to have to point. Bottom left, you've got the bar on the very left, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars there, and a horizontal squiggly line, and see the NDEF image, the line underneath? Okay. Oh, I didn't change that steering, did I? Ah, my God. Right, so I can pause that. Right, let's come back out. Save. Christ almighty. There we go. Now we can try and do the force feedback. There it is. Now I'm turning. And see? 90 degrees with my wheel, 90 degrees with the wheel in the car. Job done. So, bottom left, you can see, as I'm turning the wheel, we're getting the force feedback histogram showing you what's going on. So, to explain, the bar on the left is your overall force feedback. The next one in is your 0 to 20%. Next one in is 20 to 40. Next one in is 40, 60. Next one is 80 to 100. And then the one on the very end is when you've hit 100. So your force feedback is coming in so much, that'll go red, and that is clipping. Let me do a quick lap so you can see. Watch it down the bottom. So I've now got it hopefully set that I've got a strong feeling at the wheel, but I'm not going to clip when it comes to mid-corners or bumps. This is like you have in ACC at the bottom right. It's just, you know, the developers on this one have hidden it. Not hidden it, this is kind of better if you just want to get deep into it. As you can see there, all my force feedback settings. So I strongly suggest that you go in, you play with your settings, but then come back in here and do this to make sure you're not getting a massive red bar on the right hand side where you're clipping and you're just losing all detail. But, you know, some people might prefer to have a heavier wheel and lose those details. It's up to you, but I've got it where I'm about 95%, I think. So that's on 75 gain, and once again I'm on a Fanatec CSL 8 Newton meters. Other wheels, you know, it's going to be different. But I'm just showing you this so you can see the inputs for the histogram and the pedals. So I'm on TC1. Is it TC1? I'm on TC3. ABS2, and yesterday when I was touching the brakes, well, I was fine going into corners, braking in a straight line, but when I was trying to do the finer brakes on corner apexes, I was just spinning out, and that's because I couldn't trail brake because that pedal was showing an input when I wasn't doing nothing. And yes, to anybody that knows, this has already become one of my favourite tracks. Doesn't mean I'm any good at it, but I like it. This is the new Lambo GT3 Hurricane that came with the update, which I was slagging off, saying it was a pile of crap, because I kept spinning in it, because I didn't have my pedals sorted out. So there might be people out there, like myself, thinking, oh, well, there's all this hype about this new game, but I've jumped in here and I think it's absolute dog shite. You need to get these settings dialed in before you can make any comparison. That's enough. We've seen how crap I am. This corner especially, I was... See it go in then? I couldn't recover it yesterday, and that's because my brakes were on. There you go. Let's return to pits, exit. Skip to the end, exit session. So there you go. That is what you need to do to get your wheel and your pedals dialed in. But that's a game changer, that telemetry head. So you can only do it from, because there's another option setting here when you're in game. You have to go there, and you have to go to the and you have to put it on telemetry to get that up. But we don't want that for carrying on with. Right, since we're in here then, we might as well do the settings for you. Steering assist, no. Opposite lock, off. Assist, off. Braking assist, no. Automatic clutch, on. If you have got a clutch pedal and you're going H pattern, turn that off. But like I said, this automatic clutch is only for changing gears. So I'm on paddles, I need the automatic clutch because I don't even have a clutch pedal. I'm not doing the two paddles at the same time. You get it. Gearing is on manual, driving assist's authentic. If you do not have this setting on authentic, you would then have to have it on full, and then you would have to choose which ones you want. And some people were getting problems where they were starting the game up and, oh, I haven't got no TC, I haven't got no ABS. You have to have this setting on authentic. If the car, some cars don't have ABS and TC in the game. If the car has it, they will be available to you. And then if you've allocated your buttons, like I showed you, you can adjust it in game. Job done. Damage type, right. Now these ones down here, you can set these, and these are for one player offline. This is what you want. But if you go into online lobbies, it's whatever the host has determined for these settings. But this is for, you know, what you want for one player. So full damage, full type, damage scale, medium, mechanical failures, no. I love that that's in here, but I'm sure I'll be kicking off the first time it happens to me. Tyre wear authentic, fuel usage authentic, rules and penalties on, auto engine start, yes. You can turn that off if you've got it set on here. Manual rolling start, manual pit stop. You get it. Like I said, you choose those for what you want to do in a one-player game. If you join an online lobby, you're stuck with whatever the host has determined. And then gameplay in display settings, put the HUD back to full. This is your ICM, which is like in ACC when you get your, I forgot what it's bloody called now. Your in-game settings, your HUD, turn indicator. You get it. You can read them. They're all pretty simple. There's nothing to catch you out here. They are what they are. There's nothing. Oh, there is one you need to change, and it is that one's another one. Opponent names. If you don't want them on, turn them off. It's up to you. I'm going to turn them off. Where is it? Starting grid lights, cockpit wheels. Right, if you don't want to see the wheel in the car, turn it off there. Some people like to drive on the dash, so you can't see the wheel at all. But then there's cars in the game where it doesn't have a dash to get all the info, speedo and gears and all that, so you need it. But like if you want to use that and you don't want the wheel, because sometimes you can do that, the wheel will come up and the hand will be in your view. You can turn that off there. Static wheel. So you still got your wheel. You can see all the display that's on it, but it's not moving to get in your way. Or you can just turn it off. I've got it on. But there was another one. Where is it too? No, it's not in this one. I'm going to save that. Is it in a visual effects? Right, I need to talk about this anyway. Visual effects. Post-processing filters on, bloom on, exposure. I turn the vignette off. Some people like it, I don't. Cockpit mirrors on, heat haze on. Right, this crepuscular rays is, if you've ever done any photography, if you take a photo of a light source, bulb or sun, you'll get a line in the direction from the lens of the camera to the light, to the sun. So you can get that in game. Now, to me, if you try to do a simulation, you're trying to do a simulation of real life, you wouldn't see that through your eyes if you sat in a car. So turn that off. But if you still want to keep the nice looking sun flares, like the external ones, the ones that the game is trying to reproduce, the real sun flares, then this is the setting you keep on. So exterior sun flare, interior sun flare. So like you go over the brow of the hill, the sun's dropping down and it's coming through your eyes. Some people might not like that. If you want to be super try-hard and you just want to win a race, turn it off. But I like having it on. And raindrops and screen dirt, that's all up to you. But I like that. And then, still trying to find the one. Where is it to? I'll talk about these in a minute, but there's one while it's on my mind that's been causing problems in LFM. Can't find it. It's maybe not in there. Where would it be? Camera? Movement? No, it's not in there. God damn it. I saw it earlier. Right, okay, we're in here. Let's talk about it. Resolution, that's what I'm running, 1440p, 190 hertz. Window mode If you tab out of the game and come back on full screen, it'll automatically minimize it. Windowed will keep it there, and you can F11 and minimize and maximize it. And borderless does the same, but it keeps the screen there. It doesn't, you can't minimize it, you can't maximize it. So I'm going to have it on windowed. Texture resolution high. Right, bear in mind, I'm on 8-year-old 1080 Ti, an old 5600 Ryzen CPU, 32 gigs of RAM. I can run pretty much everything on high and get 90 to 130 frames. So if, and very likely your PC is more powerful than mine, you've got no problem. You'll probably be able to run everything ultra. I've got it on high. This is one. Anisotropic filtering. I read somewhere that this is, I was getting jaggy lines on the edges of sun rays and shadows and things like that. Turning that on, anisotropic 16 times, eliminated that. I haven't got VSync on because it steals some of your FPS. Render 2 frames ahead. Now this, you can play with these depending on how powerful your graphics card is. I've not got any of it and I don't need it. High shadow detail. Post-process and shadow detail, track reflection, ultra, you know, I've got it all on ultra or high. Right, this is the one I was looking for. In LFM, they've already found that cars are disappearing off the grid. They put an announcement out saying, turn off this setting, maximum visible vehicles. They think this is the cause of why cars are coming in and out. So that's one for you to turn off. Otherwise, you can see all my settings there. The only one I've really turned down is grass detail. I don't care how nice the grass looks, just to try and clean back a little bit more FPS. But I'll show you in a minute. I'm getting 90 to 130 in full lobbies, sunlight, rain, nighttime, whatever. Right guys, there's my settings there. Save. I have to restart for it to take effect, whatever. Right, what did I jump through and what do you need to see? We've done this one. That's all self-explanatory. There's nothing in there that you need to know about. You can do what you want in there. Camera. Right. FOV. I use cockpit. The game comes with 70 degrees as the default. Just a quick explanation of FOV. Adjusting FOV scales the image on your screen for it to be more lifelike. So really, you need to try and get this correct. Because what your brain is seeing and what the game puts through your wheel as feedback is determined by your FOV. So if I turn my FOV right the way up, it's going to stretch the car, going to be elongated, things are going to be smaller, your braking zones are going to be extended, but also your feedback through the wheel is going to be extended by whatever your eyes are seeing for it to match up. So people say, oh, you don't need to adjust the FOV. Really, you kind of do. I've got mine at 45 because I did the old sit here, measure your distance from the screen, find an FOV calculator, which I've found. I'll put a link of it in the description. Put your screen size in, put your distance in, and it tells you a suggestion. I was following the old way, which most other games are, and most other games use vertical FOV. This game uses horizontal. So I knocked mine from 70 down to 45, told a lot of people it's an absolute game changer, it's great. I got it wrong. You need to have it horizontal. So the calculator that I'm going to link in here gives you your horizontal and your vertical. So after remeasuring mine's coming out at 65. So you need to get that sorted. And then obviously, depending on which camera you prefer using, is where you need to do the adjustment. Well, really, I should do it on all of them, because if you're going to flick between... I don't. I only use the cockpit cam, but whatever. We're here now, we're doing it. And then speed sensitivity FOV. This is the faster you're going, The game will adjust your FOV to give you that better sense of speed, stuff flashing past you, whatever, and then when you slow back down again, it'll adjust the FOV to eliminate that. You could do it if you want, like people that want to be in the immersion side of things, have at it, but I don't want it changing while I'm driving because my eyes don't change as I'm driving in realistic. Yeah, you can focus different distances, but the world around you doesn't change. Anyway. So, this is quite an important one. Get your FOV sorted, guys. I'll put the link down the bottom. And like I said, you just sit here on your screen, measure distance from the tip of your nose or side of your eye to the screen. Put your size of the screen in, and it'll come out with two values, horizontal and vertical. This game uses horizontal, so 65 is where I'm at. Right, now movement, a lot of people complain in game there's a lot of camera movement, you know, going over bumps and it all shakes around. I don't like that. I prefer it just to be locked, so I've turned it all off. Well, it's all gone bar for legacy head movement. Now there's a slight bit of, at high speed there's a slight bit of this and that, and I mean ever so slight. People in VR, I'm not in that world yet, so I couldn't tell you what you need to be doing with all this. But for me and anybody else that wants something similar to ACC or other games where you can turn it all off, this is turn it all off. Every single helmet leaning, camera leaning, all of it. Just get rid of it all. And then you have a nice fixed camera that does do a little bit of movement with harsh bumps, which you would expect. But the one that comes with the game is ridiculous. It's like driving with a bobblehead. It's like, what the fuck? Anyway. So that's another important one. Visual effects. We did that one, sorry. I'm going back over myself. Audio. I've turned the master volume down here just so that you lot don't have to have that in the background while you're listening to my terrible Welsh accent. But yeah, that's what I've got it set at. Tyre volume on previous versions of the game, the tyres would screech even when you weren't locking up. And then if you're using audio cues to help you with your braking, the game telling you that you've locked your wheels up 150 meters before you've even got to the corner apex is no help whatsoever. But it seems that on this new update now, they've corrected that, but I still think it's still a bit too much on the tyre volume. So I've got it at 40, so you can still hear it, but it's not screaming in your ear if you have it up at 70, 80, 90. Because I still don't think they've quite got it. Like on ACC, you can hear the lockups and it coincides with your ABS activating. You know that you're doing too much with the brake pedal. Whereas on this, you can be completely off the brakes. You can turn the wheel and it's like Hollywood wheels, like, do you know what I mean? Just, no. But otherwise, everything else, I usually have the master volume on 60 when I'm playing, but this is all up to you. But I've got the general volume. This is the main ones for me. It's the engine volume, so you can hear what's going on with the engine for gear changes and the opponents. I think the audio sounds amazing. The game is, it's peak at the moment, but that one, the tyre volume, I still think they got that wrong. But there's my settings for everybody just to have a look at for comparison. I'm not trying to say that these are the definitive settings, but this is what I've landed on. I think they're really good. Bear in mind, I've got no life and I've been on the forums reading loads. I read all these boxes on the sides, you know, that's where this info's coming from. Is there anything else? Right, system. This is to the UDP protocol versions to get Simhub to work properly with the game. So shared memory, project cars 2, UDP frequency off, project cars, job done. Right, we're back. Bit of a hiccup there. What I need to show you now is a setting I had wrong while I'm showing you how to do it. Well done, Gwyn. Right. You need, in graphics and performance, you need it in borderless mode and if you have it in Windows mode, full screen. Is pause on focus? No. Like if you tab away from the game and go to another screen or something, which is just what happened to me because I had it in the wrong setting, it freezes the game up. So have it in borderless, and if you go away from the game and come back like this, it doesn't close the game down. So that's where you need it. You need it on borderless, and then it'll stay up full screen, and you can tab away and do other things just like that. And I can click over here on my other screen and it doesn't affect the game. Okay, so I'll thread this. There you go. We'll save that setting. What was I trying to show you? I was trying to show you how to join an online lobby, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to do a single race because I need to show you some options in here just to get you up and running. And by the way, this is fast becoming my favorite track in the game. Ecuador. Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. There you go. Right, here we go. This would be the same if you was in an online lobby. Go to Edit Setup, Advanced Setup. Previously, before the update, we were adjusting the brake pressures down because the brakes would lock up so easily. Now it looks like after the update, leaving it on the 90% comes as default is perfectly fine. If you've done the previous steps, you've adjusted your brakes, it's now doing what you're doing with your pedal, it is fine. Now if you're trying to get more performance out of the car, you can increase the brake pressure, but remember you're going to have to feather the brake pedal more, be lighter with the brake pedal to stop the ABS kicking in or lockups. But from my previous video before the 1.6 update, we were having to drop this down to 70, 75, 80%. It was just locking up all the time. Now they've done it, you don't have to worry about that. And another setting in here, no, it's not in here, right, this is going back to the FFB. Like I said, some cars, it'll create problems with your steering lock depending on the steering lock that would be on that car in the game. So just to reiterate, you've set your wheel up, you've done your calibration, now the game is going to adjust your steering lock angle for every different car you get in. So the Lambo might be 360, it could be 600, you've set 900, you've set 900, it's going to adjust. There's going to be an algorithm, the game is going to talk to your wheelbase and multiply whatever feedback set into back or four, job done. But like I said, it can cause issues depending on the car. So then if you are still having trouble, like if you're finding that you're clipping, you're getting too much force feedback off the game for this specific vehicle, this is where you're going to change it. Don't go into the global settings in here. Don't go adjusting this. Once you've adjusted this screen, do not touch it. Once you've got it right, you've done what I've said earlier, you've done your telemetry, you've got it to where stuff isn't clipping. Where's that on 65? I want it on 75. Anyway. Oh, didn't save it, did I? Oh, 40, and I want that. Oh, 30. Any strength. Right. Save that. So don't go in there adjusting this once you've saved it, like I didn't, because I've adjusted it for you guys. Don't go messing with that. Only for this specific circumstance. You're jumping in different cars and you're finding that you're losing some feedback somewhere. This is where you adjust it, in here. And I found in some cars, when you're very slow, like pulling out your pit box, you've got to do full lock. If you don't like that and you want to reduce your steering lock of the car that you're in, this is where you do it there. So the game's determined. The car's steering lock is 600, say. This is all set at 900. This is the calculation that corrects it. If you want to, I wouldn't advise it, but if you want to, you can adjust it here. You get what I mean? It's a weird one. Anyway, just leave it there. That's what I'm happy with. And then if you have done any setup changes to your car, click done, save. There's one I've already got. I'm going to overwrite that. And now, those settings that you've put in for that vehicle will be the same. So every time you get in this car, you're not going to have to worry about changing those and the brake pressures and all. You can if you want, but if you just don't want to adjust any of it, it will save it for that car for every track you go to, not just this one. Okay? And what else do you need to know? Tires, they're changed automatic by... Tires automatic by the weather, so if it's raining, put rain tires on. This is where you do your fuel. So you calculate, I like it that it shows you your laps as well as how much fuel you're putting in. Brake bias, front, these are all the quick adjustments you can make. So like TC, I've got it on 3, anti-lock brakes, ABS on 2. But this is for when we get in super try-hard and we want to start adjusting. I'll do another follow-up video on this once I've nailed it all down. But this is just to get us running with the correct FFB. Your pedals are sorted, you've got your FOV, you've sat in the car, you've got where you want to be. Let's go for a drive because I want to show... Right. This is your FOV. We've already sorted that. You need to assign the buttons in the editor. I should have showed this, sorry. But go into the controls editor and assign some buttons on your keyboard for adjusting your view. So I've got them here. Back and forth. They're called seat position. So your driver's seat position, where you want it to be. And then you can go up and down, up down. Yeah? So if you want to see the wheel, if it's a car, the dash is on the wheel, you can do that. I've got it there, because I want the dash. I'm happy with that. So yes, let me just show you that then. Options, controls, edit assignment, camera and view. Here we go. It's those ones there. Seat forward, seat backwards, seat up, seat down. You need to assign those. You can put it on your wheel, keyboard, button box, whatever. You can also do seat angle. I haven't got that. Reset seat position. That's probably a handy one. Let's put that on that one. So if you've done lots of adjustments, instead of having to adjust all the way back to 00, just press that and it'll take you back there. I think they're already set in default. It might be WASD and then arrows up and down. That's default for the view angle increase. Anyway, we'll save that. Right. This is the one. Edit HUD layout. So, have I got it on? We don't want it on the one that we had it on. Gameplay, display. Yeah, right. So we're back on full. Like if you want the telemetry to sort your brakes and everything out and your force feedback, that's the telemetry one. You want HUD, you want full. If you do not have this on full, you'll start the game and you'll have no HUD. So we don't need to do anything like that. Edit HUD layouts. This is another one. So these are all everything that's in the HUD. I think this is over there to start with. I like it there. So you can just grab all the things, put them where you want them, yeah? So this is your relative times box, which doesn't show anything by default when you come into the game. And this one down here doesn't show a lot. What you need to do is click on the box that you want, so which is this one, the relative, and then click on level. Default is minimum, and for some reason minimal doesn't show anything. I think it only shows you as you cross the line, and then it shows it to you for about 10-15 seconds, then it goes. If you want it up all the time, you need to have it there. So you've got off, blank is basically full, and minimal. You want it to show, yeah? Same with this one, level, minimal, off, full. All of them have got this, but finding it, you know, people don't, it doesn't really explain it very well to you. Not half as good as I'm explaining it. Same with all of this. See, you're going to just, you have to have it so it's blank there, and that means it's showing you everything. And you've got the full track map. You can get rid of that if you want. Job done. Basically, I've got all of it on full, so you can see all the details that it's trying to give you. Okay, and I think that's it. We've done audio, we've done controls, we've set your wheel up, we've done your camera, you've changed your FOV. Quick run through so you can see my settings just for comparison. Like I said, this isn't the definitive, but it'll help you out. And then like and subscribe down below. I'll be following up once I start getting into doing car setups, which is really easy on this game because you can go into you can basically just pinch other people's setups. So if you go into the time trial and somebody's put up a time for the track that you're in and the car that you're in, you can go in here, you can go and do that, and you can pinch the setup, but we haven't got there yet. Anyway, hope that's going to help you all. Like I said, subscribe, and I'll follow up with some more super entertaining walkthrough guides for Automobilista 2 version 1.6, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you guys.